Soul Assassins. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mixtape Moth. Please hit that like if you like this video, and also hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. But today, I'm gonna hit y'all with my thoughts on this new DJ Muggs Soul Assassins 3 Death Valley. This is the third installment from the legendary DJ Muggs' Soul Assassins compilation series, a series that began all the way back in '97 with Volume 1. Now in 2000, he had released Soul Assassins 2, so fans have waited about 23 years for Part 3. Now, I do consider Volume 1 to be a 4.5 to 5 mic album. I know some folks were critical of it when it dropped, but Muggs was really in his bag on the production tip in '97, in my opinion. But DJ Muggs, he's been this consistent West Coast hip-hop pioneer who has never fallen off. And he's been on a pretty consistent and impressive second or third run of his career ever since the 2010s, really. I mean, the man is sitting at the table with some of the greatest rap producers of all time. But getting right into Soul Assassins 3, there's a star-studded cast of features, much like the previous volumes. It contains 19 songs lasting approximately 46 minutes. But with that being said, track by track breakdown. This thing kicks off with the intro. The time has come, where Muggs brings back the attention vocal sample. Yeah, as a whole, it's just a spooky and psychedelic opener to set the tone. Track 2, It's On, with Boldy James, has more of a sparkling and soulful tone, which was dope. Although I was a bit thrown off at first because I expected more of a grim or eerie opener, but no complaints. It was just different. And on here, Boldy was talking about making it out the streets by the skin of his teeth. Overall, solid first song with a classy, vintage-like instrumental. Track 3, Check In with Jay Worthy, is set to a groovy, flute-like beat that could have easily been on a soundtrack to a fly 70s flick. But there's also a splash of that warm Southern Cali flavor, as well as a Biggie vocal sample. Here, Jay Worthy is rapping about his street credibility and doing some more slick bumped-in talk. Right after is Sicilian Gold with Westside Gunn and Ghostface, and it's about time we get another Wu-Tang Griselda collab. Hopefully, sometime in the near future, some Wu members will decide to do a Westside Gunn executive produced project, on a side note. But Sicilian Gold has this dusty, soulful loop that's glorious, but a bit rough around the edges. We get some big, bold, luxury talk from the two. Ghostface is mentioning crushed linen, heavy Cuban, Sicily gold, and bangles, of course. And Westside Gunn comes through with the numerous fashion references. Yeah, as a whole, cool track. Following this is 67 Keys with Roc Marciano, Streetz, and Mayhem Loren. And we're getting this marvelous, sugary piano production. And there is something about this instrumental that reminded me a bit of The Alchemist's Elephant Man's Bone. Roc Marciano and Mayhem are doing some slick player and coke talk. It's music for the sophisticated dawn. Track 6 is Mr. Cartoon interlude, where Be Real, he pays homage to some of the West Coast Hispanic tattoo artists, and this segues nicely into Joker's Wild, featuring the one and only Cee-Lo Green. Of course, Soul Assassins fans are going to remember the classic Goody Mob song from Volume 1. And even though this song has a different vibe from that track, there are still hints to the sonics of the Goody Mob record. It's just that here, Cee-Lo Green is rapping from the perspective of Chicano in Southern California, which was unexpected, but he has not lost a step lyrically or vocally, and there is even a Latin-inspired hook that was very solid, but as a whole, one of the standout tracks that does make me envision the possibilities of a full-length Goody Mob or Cee-Lo Green album produced by Mr. Muggered. After this is Shell Casings with TF, which has a moodier, blunted composition with the sound effects of shell casings. Now TF, he's not the most compelling lyrically, but he always sounds authentic in his depiction of street life. I wouldn't consider this to be a favorite, but I do like the darker nighttime feel to the production. Immediately after is the gem, Street Music by Scarface and Freddie Gibbs. And this has to be, I believe, their third collab. It was great to get newer material from the legendary Brad Jordan, although I gotta point out this song is over a year old. But Face gives us some sharp, streetwise philosophy. He raps, we did it for dope and the dollar signs. You did it for likes all on your lives. So he's essentially saying he can't relate to some of the younger folks who take all these crazy risks just for the clout. Well, he's not the same. And Gangsta Gibbs came through with a dope verse as well. I really dug the grim nocturnal production. Yeah, as a whole, great record. It's one of the highlights indeed. Afterwards is Where We At with Boldy James, and it's a shorter track that is a nice change in pace from the two preceding darker records. Here, Boldy is gliding over a classy drumless soul sample that's pretty exquisite, and I dug the pocket he was flowing in. Track 11 is We Ain't Playing with 211 TF, Jay Worthy, and Devin the Dude. There's a wavier and quirky instrumental, and we get this fantastic hook from Devin, who I wish had rapped on here as well, but I'll take the hook. Yeah, it was a totally unexpected feature, but great nonetheless. Jay Worthy had a couple of dope lines, but I don't remember much about TF or 211's verse, respectfully. I kind of wish, though, that Devin was the only one on this song, honestly. Next is Burn the Playbook with Evidence and Damo Genesis, and it has an atmospheric, hazier beat that really complements these two Southern Cali spitters. Yeah, it's a total vibe that I would expect from these Soul Assassins affiliate. After this is the Magic interlude that's filled with some mushroom talk over a psychedelic guitar riff that's just classic Muggs. Following this is Crazy Horse with Roc Marciano and Crimeapple, and I really dug the Haunting Soul Loop, which did put me in the frame of mind of some Alchemist meets Griselda. And while Roc Marciano's verse was solid, I felt Crimeapple's was a bit more captivating. Then we get one of the strongest songs, no doubt. Metropolis, Method Man, and Slick Rick. It's at least a year old, like the record with Face and Gibbs, but I'm glad that it found a home on this album. Both Method Man and Slick Rick get busy over this demented, dungeon-like beat from Muggs. The drums hit hard as hell, and I dug the Killer Bees stinging effect that fit Method Man like a glove. So, Meth, he had the better verse as he continues to dazzle us with his wordplay, but Slick Rick sounded good flow-wise. Track 16 is We Come for the Safe, which has more of a chilling soundscape. It's Boldy doing some heavy crime caper raps on top of this sinister cinematic beat. Yeah, it's safe to say that Boldy and Muggs were 3 for 3 on this album, and hopefully, hopefully it will lead to an official album collab in the near future. Right after is Skeleton Bones with Rome Streetz, and this hits as hard as anything from the Muggs and Streetz collab album back in 2021. I like the piano arpeggios and the warped quality to the beat, as well as Rome's ferocious flow. The second to last track is Dump on 'Em with the old school West Coast vets. Be Real, MC Ren, and Cube. 3 West Coast pioneers, no doubt. And the Muggs beat, it managed to channel, that nostalgic late 90s Cypress sound. I didn't necessarily love the hook, but solid record overall. And I'd have to say that Cube had the best verse out the 3. Then this project wraps up with the Soul Assassins 3 outro, which offers some deep mystical words over a haunting backdrop. So overall, I'm gonna give this project a rating of 4 mics. It might go up with additional listens, but for now, nothing lower than a 4. If this is the last Soul Assassins compilation, then I'd have to say Muggs closed out the trilogy well, if those were his intentions. But as a whole, it's a dope compilation that plays well from front to back, and sonically, I think it's a bit more cohesive than Volume 2. The features were pretty impressive for the most part, although I'd have to say that a couple artists punched under their weight. But yeah, I am pretty confident that Muggs fans and Soul Assassins fans in general will be pleased with this effort. At the moment, I do feel it's the best compilation album of the year. Even though Static Selecta's project was dope, I would put Soul Assassins 3 higher. I also noticed that the production was slightly less dark overall than volumes 1 and 2, which I guess was a surprise somewhat, but it all managed to work. And at the end of the day, you just gotta love and respect how after all these years, you can still count on Muggs to deliver on the production front at such a high level. My favorite tracks include It's On, Sicilian Gold, Joker's Wild, Street Music, Where We At, Burn the Playbook, Metropolis, We Coming for the Safe, and Skeleton Bone. Let me know what you thought about this project in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out. As always, it's peace and blessings. DJ Muggs, Soul Assassins 3, Death Valley 1.